Now that we know how to plot points using polar coordinates, we're going to move on to graphing equations. And in this lesson, we're going to graph the two simplest equations that we can have in polar coordinates. Thinking back to rectangular coordinates, remember that the two simplest equations that you can graph there would be x equals some number, let's say x equals 2, that's just going to be a vertical line at x equals 2. Y can be anything. And so we're just graphing all of the points where the x coordinate is equal to 2. Similarly, if we have y equals, say, -1, we're going to have a horizontal line representing all the points where y is equal to -1, and x can be anything. All right, so similarly, with polar coordinates, the two simplest graphs that we can have are r equals some number or theta equals some number. And we want to talk about what those represent. So let's start with r equals 4. So this is going to be all the points that are 4 away from the center. Theta can be anything. Our angle can be anything, but our distance is going to be 4 away from the center. Well, if you think about it, that's our definition of a circle, is all the points that are the same distance away from some center point. So this is just going to be a circle with a radius of 4. So if we go out 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to graph this entire circle with a radius of 4 centered on the origin. All right. Now what about if we're given an angle, theta equals pi over 3, for example. There we want all the points that are on that angle, regardless of what r is, regardless of the distance. So that's going to be all of these points on our angle pi over 3 going off to infinity. But remember, because r could also be negative, it's also going to be all of these points going in the opposite direction, down this way. So we're going to have a straight line going to infinity in both directions with an angle to this polar axis of pi over 3. So if you have r equals some constant, it's going to be a circle centered on the origin. If theta is equal to some constant, it's going to be a straight line that runs through the pole or the origin.